Hi, we're going to learn a little bit more about plants. So this is about how plants live. Plants live in a very different way from animals. They can make their own food from sunlight, air, and water in the soil. Plants begin making food in the morning when the sun rises and finish when the sun sets. They open tiny holes on the underside of their leaves and take in a gas called carbon dioxide from the air. They use this in water to make their food. Plants make oxygen when they make food. They release the oxygen from their leaves into the air. All plants and animals need oxygen to stay alive. So plants need light. Plants will grow well around the mouth of a cave, but they do not grow inside it. There is not enough light in the cave for plants to make food. Plants need water. Their leaves have a coat of wax. Rainwater cannot get through it. The water must go into the soil and be sucked into the plant by its roots. So the waxy leaves will just have the water bead up, and then it will drop into the soil. And there's a cave. Plants need minerals also. When plants and animals die, their bodies rot away and release natural substances called minerals into the soil. The minerals dissolve in the water that plants suck up, and this helps them grow and make their food. Farmers sometimes add extra minerals to their crops by putting fertilizer in the soil. Plants make oxygen. When water plants make food, they give off bubbles containing oxygen. So here are some more pictures of some plants. And this is about making seeds. Flowers make a yellow dust called pollen so that they can produce seeds. Many flowers also make a sweet juice called nectar. Insects land on flowers and feed off of the nectar. They pick up pollen on their hairy bodies. The pollen sticks to the insect when it flies away. When the insect visits another flower, it may brush past a sticky part of the flower called the stigma. When pollen has been moved from one flower to another like this, pollination has happened. The flowers have now been fertilized. Some flowers are not pollinated by insects, but by the wind. So wind pollution. Grasses and willows are pollinated by the wind. Their flowers are small and do not have petals. They are packed together in a group, and the stamens stick out into the air. So these are some of the things that cattails and some grasses and willow that carry their pollen through the wind. Insect pollination. Insects, such as bees, visit flowers for a drink of nectar and pick up pollen from the stamens as they climb inside the flower. The pollen is carried to another flower by the insect. And the pollen sticks to the stigma as the insect looks for more nectar. So you see, those bees are going to carry part of that pollen from one plant to another, the next one they land on. Pea seeds. A pea plant has many seeds. One of it is fertilized by a different pollen grain to make a pea seed. So you can see this is the inside of part of the flower, and then the peas right there. So for today's work, you're going to learn a little bit more about the process called photosynthesis, which is the process of plants making their food. So we know that plants need food and air and water to live because they're living things. But the plants take the food, take the water, and they make their own food. Okay, so there is a little song. It's to the Addams Family. I'm not going to sing it. But it says, plants need food but can't take it. Instead, they have to bake it. It's in their leaves, they make it. It's photosynthesis. In the leaves, you cannot see the chloroplasts, so tiny, making food for energy, and here's their recipe. So sunlight and carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out when we breathe. And remember, we talked about this when we talked about the human body. We breathe in oxygen. All the oxygen is taken out, goes into the blood, and then we breathe out carbon dioxide. So then the plants take this carbon dioxide, they use it to make their food, and then they spit out oxygen for us. When it's finally done, there's sugar and oxygen. From water, air, and sun, that's photosynthesis. So the plants are kind of opposite than us. They take in the carbon dioxide, and then they send out oxygen into the air. They also make sugar, which is the food that they need to keep them growing. So that is a song. So that tells you a little bit about photosynthesis. And this is our work for today. So you're going to cut out these things. So we have sugar, sunlight, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. So we're going to say photosynthesis, you have to take carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight up here. And it makes sugar and oxygen. So it makes food for the plant to keep growing. And it also gives us oxygen so that we can breathe. So it's a pretty cool thing. So that's your work for today. I will see you again.